Good morning, everyone. This is Rima. Welcome you all to Mapic India exclusive interview with retail leaders for 2022 edition. And we have a special guest today with us from ZS Associates, Mr. Tarun Pandey, Principal Pune, India. Welcome, Tarun, to the Mapic India exclusive session.
Thanks a lot, Rima. Great to be here.
So ZS works across entire retail value chain to help clients realize the key outcomes and execute data-driven insights to scaled decision making. And Tarun is a part of consumer practice at ZS, where he focuses on activating B2B demand through AI based platforms and offerings. During his 17 years at ZS, Tarun has worked across pharma, CPG, retail, hospitality verticals in areas such as commercial strategy and operations, sales force effectiveness, and consumer demand activation. So, without taking much time here, let's start, Tarun. If you could first introduce a little bit more about ZS Associates and to the mission you are after.
Thanks a lot for the intro, Rima. So yeah, getting straight to ZS. Rima, Team ZS as an organization is 40 years old, started by Z and S. And these are two compatriots of Professor Kotler from the Kellogg Business School in Northwestern University. And at that time, they felt that marketing as a discipline is very well represented in theory, frameworks, and science, but sales was not. Professor Zoltner and Prabha Sinha, ZNS, they started this organization called ZS Associates with this basic idea of bringing in more science into the world of sales. So how do we size a sales force, structure it? How do you do national level forecast and territory level goals? So that's how the firm started. Since then, of course, we have grown to over 15,000 employees worldwide, around 34 offices, again, with the focus retained in helping our clients in the areas of sales, marketing, and supply chain. And why supply chain? Because Rima, as you would have seen, today, increasingly, supply chain is the remit of the sales organization, because in many situations, fulfillment of demand, making sure you're sourcing and manufacturing the right quantities is so closely tied to consumer demand that now it is very well integrated into the ecosystem. So as a company, we do sales, marketing, supply chain since the last 40 years across industries like the ones you mentioned, but with the idea of using data science, AI analytics into it rather than just some high-level frameworks.
Great. So, and Tarun, tell me how brands are spotting future trends and growth opportunities. Through the maze of customer conversations, maybe. Like if you can elaborate it a little bit further.
Yeah, very interesting question, Rima. So how do consumer brands figure out what customers are talking about? So most of the time, traditionally, consumer brands have just asked. And Rima, what does asking consumers what they want and they're thinking about? It's called primary market research, right? So that's it. That's the what you call legacy and standard way of doing it. You create questionnaires, surveys, you do focus groups, you do all of that. But Rima, today the paradigm is changing, and with more advances in data science, AI, we've been able to use techniques like NLP to listen to what customers are talking about without even being asked. So think of it as me as a consumer expressing myself on social media, or Rima as a consumer talking about her experiences with a product on Amazon. Yeah. Now, nobody asked her, hey, Rima, I want to, hear from you what you think about our new brand and are you using it in the right way? But she has something to share that's unaided. And that's why it's much more powerful. So now, more than ever, with advances in NLP, we are able to really glean out the sentiments of what consumers are really talking about. What's the latest and greatest when it comes to how they're using your products? What are the new applications in the consumer world that brands need to be aware of? We used to only ask, which is do primary market research. Now we do that, plus we do a lot more of listening using advanced methods like NLP. And the volume of such expressions by consumers is very high. Rima, if you look at product reviews and Twitter feeds and social media and the buzz out there, there's a gold mine of information. It is for us to be able to make sense out of it, so that we can tell consumer brands that, hey, this is a cause of concern, or this is something which is trending.
Great. That's actually very interesting to know. And I think in the last 1 or 2 years, even the consumer has changed. And somehow like we have to come up with some kind of customized, kind of technologies or whatever, to just to allure them, right? I mean, things have changed in the last 2 years.
Absolutely, absolutely, more than ever. Because
Yeah.
for instance, one big change, Rima, as you'll see a lot of our retailer friends in the MAPIC conference will also talk about, is that this move towards omni-channel has been accelerated in the last few years, more than ever. When
100%.
access
Yeah.
to physical stores was restricted,
Yes.
adoption of digital and other channels has been much more than ever before. Yeah.
Yeah. True. Okay, Tarun, tell me how brands are using AI, to forecast the future consumer demand with high levels of precision.
Absolutely. So again, great question, Rima. So historically, how I would, and even today, by the way, at an aggregate level, if I just project my trend line as an organization, say I'm a big consumer brand in the beverage space, okay? And year on year, I've been growing at, say, 15, 18%. And if I just project it based on a few variables, I'll be able to get a fairly decent sense of aggregate demand. But the point is that doesn't have too much business sense for me. Today, I need to know what is consumer demand at a very, very granular level. Retailers need to know it by store, by local market, by SKU. Okay. So if it comes to that, combining again traditional statistical method with a lot more new methods where we are using third-party data sources, real-world data sources. For instance, integration with weather.com API for a beverage, organization to be able to predict when there'll be a peak demand for some of their beverages. Likewise, in fashion, there are a infinite number of undefined, sources which we as organizations have to carefully pass through and say, these are the signals that may affect demand for me in different geographies by different SKUs. So we have to now have an ability to incorporate those signals in my demand planning, in my forecasting. So today, more than ever, for instance, traditional statistical methods are being replaced by more AI, ML-based methods, where you're baking in a lot more factors, which is that if the macro situation changes, what could be the effect on demand? If I pump in more promotional dollars or rupees in this kind of a channel, what could be the consequent demand? So there's a lot of these endogenous, exogenous factors that I have to incorporate. And I'm able to incorporate now more than ever to get a fairly granular, sense of consumer demand.
Great. That's really a very interesting thing to know, actually. So, Tarun, tell me one more thing: how the brands, can connect with the early adopters of the new brands by giving them a personalized and relevant experience, maybe.
Yes, Rima. So the couple of themes here. One is personalization, which I'll come to, and connecting with early adopters. So a lot of that, a lot of this is again linked to your first question, which is how can we listen better to what our consumers are talking about. So once we are able to do that, Rima, historically, the whole construct of segmentation was created because our ability to address the market was limited. So the resources I had with me were such that I needed a gold, silver, platinum segment of customers so that I could address gold in one way, silver in one way, platinum in one way. Now, what's happening is even at B2C scale, the ability of AI for me to really create these micro segments is becoming feasible today, so that what I take to Tarun versus Rima can be differentiated without me expending so much more additional resources. So today, what's happening when it comes to personalization is that uh, rather than those standard gold, silver, platinum, or macro customer segments, we are able to realize that, so even if Rima and Tarun are very similar as a customer segment for my brand, they are in very different stages of their journey. Rima is about to get disengaged and move on to a competitor product, while Tarun is a loyalist. Okay, even if demographically and otherwise on historical purchases they are very similar. I'm able to discern that today, and then I'm able to give Tarun a different offer, which could be maybe a content or a message to keep him engaged. While I'm on a higher sense of urgency, I'm able to give Rima a much more, targeted offer to re-engage her before she churns out as a customer.
Wow.
And to be able to do that at a B2C scale is possible. So there are offerings that we have, a lot of players in the market as well have, which basically identify different consumers at different points of their journeys based on past consumption, based on other such cohorts out there, and give them the right offer. Unlike, everybody getting a 10% off for buy one, get one, there could be a multitude of different things at different times. It need not even be an offer. It can just be a message, a personalized message. So that's one more piece where more powerful and more advanced AI is enabling big retailers, big brands to engage with their consumers in a 1:1 level, which was absolutely not possible, a few years back.
Yeah. I think personalization is the key today, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really awesome. And I think Tarun, this conversation was like so insightful, and thank you so much for taking time for this interview. And we really look forward to see you at MAPIC on 14th and 15th of September, and again with a very insightful session. And we really look forward to it. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Rima. Really excited and looking forward to MAPIC in September.
Thank you so much.
Bye. See you.
Bye bye. Thank you.